Welcome in. Let's get those sits bones adjusted out of the way, starting to settle in. Those hands and arms just hanging loose, hands resting in the lap or draped over the knees. And sitting tall, lengthening through the spine, starting to find that little sway side to side. As little or large as you like. Maybe just finding that gentle, itty bitty tip, or rolling those shoulders up and back, whatever feels good. And closing the eyes if they aren't already, and letting that head start to tip as well. Just finding that fluid, smooth motion. Remembering as we move and flow today to just check in with your body often, seeing how it feels, where you're at in the moment. Remembering to challenge yourself, but no pain. And always feeling free to drop into child's pose at any time if you wish, stopping, grabbing that water, and drawing out of anything that feels too intense. Just swaying, that little tip, and letting the motion start to slow and coming to a stop, sitting tall, shifting slightly forward and back, checking within for that space where you feel centered and grounded. I miss Dharma. On an exhale, tipping the chin to chest to hold. That stretch. The back of the neck across the tops of the shoulders. Inhaling, tipping the chin up. Again, nothing severe or extreme. Gently rolling that right ear to right shoulder, holding for a moment before continuing down to the chin. And rolling back, coming up into that tip. Finding that flow once or twice more. Holding the next time the chin dips up. On an exhale breath, bringing that left ear to left shoulder to hold. And continuing that roll of chin to chest. Rolling back and forth on that left side, taking your time. Holding the chin, tipping up once again. And bringing that head back level, releasing the arms down by the sides. Inhaling, extending long through the arms, connecting the pads of the fingers at the top and lifting long. Feeling the openness in the front of the body. Exhaling and twisting right. Bracing off of the knees, supporting behind the spine with the hands. Yes, Miss Dharma. Coming back to center, arms by the sides. Inhaling, lifting long, connecting the pads of the fingers together. Lifting higher. And exhaling, twisting left this time, still bracing and supporting with the hands. Coming back to center. Just shimming those shoulders side to side, letting go. And from center, planting the palms together, interlacing the fingers and smushing those forearms. Starting to roll the wrists, that little figure eight motion. Still keeping the forearms connected. Gesundheit. And switching directions. Giving a little shake. Inhaling the arms, bringing them long to the sides, but bending those elbows. Those hands settling onto the shoulders with the elbows out to the side. Exhaling, drawing the arms forward, tapping those elbows in front of the body, before opening, long to the side, drawing the arms slightly behind the torso, bringing those shoulder blades together. And repeating, moving at your pace, feeling the changes. Opening those arms out to the side once again, the elbows still bent and pointing. Thank you, Miss Dharma. And finding that circular rotation, those elbows pointing circles on the side walls. Does that feel good? Nice and slow, switching directions. Someone's being a ham this morning. Bringing those arms open once again and releasing. Just settling the arms into the lap, finding that little shoulder shimmy and shake, letting any tension go. Hugging that left knee into the chest and tucking that right arch of the foot under that left bum cheek up against the bum bone. Crossing that left foot over top of the bent right knee and hugging that left knee with the right arm as you twist left. Again, gazing softly behind the body. Coming back to center, untwisting, extending that left leg long to the side, sitting tall, drawing the right heel into the groin, lining the chest up with that left knee and ankle and folding from the waist, walking those hands long down the leg, and settling into the breath. Inhaling, lifting out slightly, extending long through the spine. Exhaling, refolding. Sliding those hands up the leg, sitting tall. Thank you, Miss Dharma. And re-sliding that left hand down the leg, letting the forearm and shin marry. Rolling that right shoulder open, bringing that hand to your sacrum, your lower back, right on top of the tramp stamp. Settling in here, or letting that left elbow dip down to the mat, just resting your chin in the palm of the hand, unless you're fending off kisses from a Boston. You're a good girl, I know. Coming back to seated, giving that little shoulder shimmy, and drawing that left foot into the groin. Hold on, Miss Dharma. Let's hug the right knee up to the chest so that we can set that left arch of the foot under the right bum cheek up against the bum bone, crossing that right foot over top of the left bent knee and twisting right, that left arm wrapping around the bent knee, bringing that gaze behind the torso. Hopefully you understood my directions there. I was a little distracted with those Boston kisses. Just relaxing into the breath, enjoying that torso twist. Unwrapping and extending that right leg long to the side, redrawing that left heel into the groin, sitting tall. Lining that torso up with the right knee and ankle before folding forward from the waist. Bringing the nose and knee nearer. That stretch strong through the left side of the hip and torso. On an inhale, lifting out slightly, extending long through the spine. Exhaling, refolding. Walking the hands up the leg. Sitting tall, slide that right forearm down the leg to meet the shin. Rolling that left shoulder open, bringing the left hand to your sacrum, your lower back. Glancing up, staying here, or settling that right elbow into the mat. Maybe finding that support for the head. On an inhale, drawing back up to seated, giving that little shimmy shake with the shoulders, letting go. Rolling forward onto the hands and knees, letting those knees drop below the hips, the wrists below the shoulders. And gently shifting those hips side to side, as if reaching towards those side walls, letting any tightness and tension go. Coming back to center, walking those hands forward almost as far as you can reach, before pressing into the palms firmly, releasing the forearms to the mat and shifting the hips and bum back towards the heels, settling the chin to the mat for puppy. Taking that gaze forward towards the thumbs. That big stretch through the arms, moving through the armpits. Pressing into the right palm to lift out slightly, sliding that left arm under the torso along the mat, releasing to the shoulder. And finding the breath. Pressing into the palm, lifting out and switching hands, that left hand strongly supporting as the right arm slides under the torso, releasing onto the shoulder. Pressing into the palm, lifting out, walking those hands back so the wrists fall below the shoulders once again. Getting ready for a few rounds of cat-cow. Pressing long through the arms, rounding the upper back and shoulders, letting the tailbone descend down. And inhaling, moving the chest forward, the heart opening, that controlled sway through back and belly as the tailbone tips up. Exhaling on cow, and inhaling for cat. Relaxing into the breath as you move. Remembering to check in. Just being sure to be honest with yourself and kind. Our bodies do change day to day. One more cat and cow, meeting back at that level tabletop back. Planting that right palm firmly. Let's float that right knee, toe pointing up towards the ceiling, knee pointing towards the wall behind you. Finding the balance, supporting with that right hand, that left knee, so that left hand can reach back, finding the foot or ankle. And on an inhale, lifting both foot and hand higher. Feeling that stretch. Shoulder blades coming together, and that foot feeling like it's trying to break free from the hand. Core engaged. Releasing out. Shifting those hips side to side, letting that tension go. Coming back to center. That left hand planting firm as you float the left knee, toe pointing up, that knee towards the wall behind you. Finding the balance before reaching back with the right hand for the foot or ankle. And inhaling, lifting both hand and foot, feeling the stretch, maybe finding a few shakes. That foot feeling as if it's trying to pull away. Exhaling, releasing out, and shifting those hips side to side, letting that tension go. Exhaling, letting those hips settle towards the heels and resting the forehead down into child's pose. Pausing for a moment here. Relaxing into the breath. The mind free of any thoughts. Just being in the moment here now. If thoughts do pop up, just giving them that moment of acknowledgement and promptly pushing them off the yoga mat. They'll be waiting for you later. Sliding those hands long into the mat, away from the head. Let's start with that child's pose flow. Inhaling, coming forward to kneeling plank. And pressing back child's pose. From kneeling plank, tucking the toes, floating the knees, pressing into the heels, and moving into down dog. Your timing, always your flow. Hi, Miss Dharma. She says, I'm back. Yes. You're just wanting to play today. Is it this different time? She says, you're flowing during my playtime. That next time you do press into down dog, let's hold there. Just starting to pedal the legs out. Taking that dog for a little walk, but looking to let go of any snap, crackles, or pops. Thank you, sweetie. Letting those heels sink towards the mat. They may touch down or not. Just enjoying that stretch through the back of the legs. The shoulder blades coming together down the back. And pressing long through the arms. Perhaps even lifting high onto the tippy toes. Hey Swiss, welcome in. We're gently stepping the feet a little away from each other so you can shift those hips side to side, settling in, finding the comfort in the pose. It is there. Inhaling, moving forward to plank. Bouncing into the heels, pressing long through the arms. Shifting back, down dog. Pedaling the legs, shifting the hips. Planting that left foot firm, floating the right leg high, three-legged dog, flexing and pointing at the top. Bending that knee, opening the hip nice and wide. Just peeking under the left armpit, giving that little wave with the toes. Extending long, three-legged dog. Pointing through the toes, letting them slowly trickle back down to the mat. Pedal those legs or shift the hips. Settling in. That right foot planting firm as the left floats high, three-legged dog, flexing and pointing at the top. Bending that knee, opening the hip nice and wide, giving that wave once again, just peeking under the right armpit this time. Extending long, three-legged dog. Pointing through the toes, letting them slowly release back to the mat. and shifting those hips side to side. Coming forward to plank. Option to hold here in long plank with the arms, or release down onto the forearms, still pressing through the heels, gently bouncing. And always the option to drop those knees if you wish, finding that little support. Core engaged. Relaxing the breath. Still bouncing. If you need that distraction, always that option to use the alternating knee tap to the mat. Sometimes a distraction is all we need to accomplish something that we're not quite sure yet that we're ready to do. Pressing back into long arms, if on the forearms, and moving back into down dog. Shifting those hips, reaching long through the arms. Bringing the gaze to the hands. Let's set up for pigeon. Shifting forward, bringing those right toes behind the left wrist, letting the knees settle to the mat, that left leg sliding long behind the body. And finding a prop, maybe a wadded up sweatshirt or a block to tuck under that right bum cheek to keep you from rolling over. Maybe staying high in long arms, releasing onto the forearms, or fully reclining. Listening to where your body wants to be today and settling in. It might be the start of your week or the very end. Always play, bringing that back foot into the crook of the elbow. Or not. But have some fun. This is time for you. Another breath or two here. Walking back up into long arms, moving that prop out of the way, but keeping it nearby. Tucking the left toe under, pressing into the heel, floating the knee, and stepping back into plank. Excuse me, Miss Dharma. Bouncing into the heels, shifting into down dog. Getting comfortable here. Pausing with the breath. Getting ready for that opposite side. Moving forward. Finding plank before kicking those left toes just behind the right wrist. Those knees releasing to the mat, that right leg sliding long behind the body, and tucking that prop under the left bum cheek. Again, this side might vary from the last, so deciding where to go, staying high, forearms, or fully reclining. Just breathing. playing if you wish. Drawing those toes into the crook of the elbow or not, enjoying in that fully reclined. Just a few more breaths. Walking back up into long arms and tucking that prop off to the side before planting the hands firmly. That right toe tucking underneath to float the knee, pressing into the heel. Stepping back into plank, bouncing into both heels. And walking those feet forward to the hands, moving into forward fold, just letting the upper body hang forward. Those arms drawing the head and upper body forward and down. Inhaling, rolling onto the fingertips for monkey, taking that gaze forward and feeling that big stretch move through the back of the legs. Exhaling, forward fold. And with those arms hanging loose, rolling up one vertebra at a time. Coming to stand. Releasing those shoulders up and back. And walking more towards the back of the mat if you're at the front. So relaxing a moment, those arms open by the sides, standing tall in mountain. Finding a breath or two before stepping that left foot forward, gently bouncing into the right heel. Inhaling, arms sweeping long to ceiling, palms facing together, taking the gaze up between the hands. Just a little back bend. And bringing those palms together. On an exhale, releasing the hands to heart center. Let's add a little twist here. Twisting towards the left, planting that right elbow on the bent knee, hands pressing together, helping with that torso twist. Coming back to hands at heart center, releasing the hands, stepping forward, and giving that little shoulder roll up and back as we move back to the rear of the mat. Relaxing into mountain stance once again, finding the peace in the pose. Exhaling, stepping the right foot forward. That right knee bent, gently bouncing into the left heel. Inhaling to sweep the arms long to the ceiling, once again bringing the gaze between the palms. Feeling that little back bend. Exhaling, palms together at heart center. And adding the twist. Twisting right, keeping that left elbow onto the right knee. Those palms connecting, helping with that torso twist. Are you trying to get your brother to play? Coming back to stand. Releasing the arms by the sides, shrugging those shoulders up and down, and stepping forward. Just giving a whole little body wiggle. Letting that tension go. And playing some. Finding some fun with some balance. We'll see how the equilibrium is today and the balance. Those allergies lately, I tell you. So grabbing a block, we are just going to practice and play a little with half moon. So if you have the block in hand, just reaching that arm long and forward, folding from the waist and setting that block down exactly where the hand reaches. It's just off a little bit to the outside of that little toe. Of finding that balance between the hand and the foot, shifting slightly and resting that left hand along the leg. Releasing the weight from the left leg into the right and letting that leg float hip height behind you, gently pressing through the heel. Holding here, perhaps staying here. Or starting to roll the shoulder and the hip gently open out towards the left. That left arm can extend long to ceiling or stay resting on the leg on that thigh. And if you're very adventurous to taking that gaze up towards that left hand, I'm not going there today. You would all get to laugh at me, definitely falling. I can feel it. This is as challenged as I'm getting here. But you may beautifully be open into that half moon right now, or not. Again, listening to your body. Just releasing the hand when ready. Slowly closing that open hip and shoulder. Releasing the leg. And gently coming back to stand when ready. Let's switch sides. That block moving into the left hand. Standing firmly on the mat and extending that left arm long. Folding from the waist, finding the support. Gently shifting that weight between hands and feet for a moment. That right arm just resting on the thigh, around the bum, before releasing the weight from the right foot into the left, gently pressing through the heel, hip height. Relaxing into the breath. Again, staying here. We're starting to open the shoulder and the hip. Perhaps finding that extension in the arm long to ceiling or long in front of the head. Maybe bringing that gaze up towards the hand, or not. I get it if not. There's no way my equilibrium is allowing me to go there today. No beating yourself up. Again, we're listening to our bodies. Releasing out when ready. Setting that block off to the side and gently rolling to stand. Just letting those shoulders roll up and back. Let's find a little warrior work. Opening the legs, those toes pointing to the outer corners of the mat to start. Turning the toes to the right, bending the knee, extending the arms and flowing in and out, checking that space and distance before settling into warrior two. Extending long through the arms, peeking that big toe is still visible inside of the bent knee. And wiggling through the fingers. Finding that full extension, enjoying the breath. Exhaling, releasing that right elbow to the knee, left arm long to ceiling or settling on that sacrum. Once again, that tramp stamp is the perfect placement for the hand. On an exhale, angling that long left arm so it comes just by the ear, extending forward through the fingers. Exhaling, releasing that left hand to the sacrum if not already there. And perhaps bringing that right hand up to the heart, that knee and elbow separating for a breath or two. Pressing back up to stand. Releasing the arms. and starting to set up for Warrior Two to the left. Bending the knee, moving in and out, finding that positioning, that distance and space between the legs before settling in, extending long through the arms, that big toe visible inside of the bent knee. Actively wiggling the fingers as you reach. On an exhale, letting that left elbow settle onto the knee, opening the chest, that right arm long to ceiling or on the sacrum. Moving that upper arm long and forward so the arm rests just by the ear. And staying here or challenging yourself a little by bringing that hand off of the knee, the hand itself onto the chest, and pressing up, Warrior Two. Wiggling those fingers. Releasing the arms, coming back to center. Those toes pointing towards the outer corners of the mat. Inhaling to sweep the arms long to ceiling, making that X with the body. Exhaling, hands down by the sides as you fold forward from the waist. Nice and slow. And dropping all the way forward, letting those hands run down the outsides of the legs to the mat, and finding that support in the hands just under the face. Letting the top of the head drop towards the mat. Letting go, just hanging forward. Staying here or lifting those arms long towards the ceiling, making a fist with the hands and little figure eights with the wrists. Letting those hands rest on the thighs. Running once again down the side of the legs, settling into the mat. That right hand planting firmly under the face, pressing long into the arm as the left arm extends up towards the ceiling. Opening and lifting out from the shoulders and the chest. That gaze perhaps following the thumb up towards the ceiling, or not. Exhaling, releasing forward and switching sides. That left hand firmly taking the place of the right as the right sweeps long to ceiling. Softly gazing up at the thumb, or not. Exhaling, releasing forward, planting the hands and walking those feet towards one another a little more, those toes still pointing out, but getting ready to drop into Malasana. On an exhale, starting to squat the bum between the heels, those knees tracking the path of the toes, and tucking the elbows inside of the knees. Bringing those hands to heart center. Holding steady, not letting the booty sink towards the mat, keeping that control. Gently lifted. If you want to work a little harder, lifting slightly out from Malasana, your inner thighs will feel it immediately. Gently releasing down to the mat, bringing those knees in towards the chest. And then stepping the feet slightly away from the body, knees still bent. Let's tuck the fingers behind those bent knees and shift back, finding that balancing spot at the top of the bum to lift those legs into boat. Spine lengthening nice and long. Hands staying behind the knees or extending long by the sides. Slow with control, letting the heels drop to the mat and finding that block once again. Opening the knees slightly to the side as if finding butterfly legs, setting that block between the bottom flat of the feet and shifting back once again onto that flat spot for balance at the booty. Bringing those hands to heart center or tucking behind the knees. Inhaling to float the legs, once again supporting that block, still staying long through the spine. Holding here, feeling the core work, or extending the legs long and drawing them back in. That gentle flow, feeling the core work. One more. Bringing the support of the hands back behind the knees before setting that block down and off to the side. Tucking those fingers behind the knees to slowly release the upper body back to the mat, one vertebra at a time. As the shoulders touch back, sliding those toes along the mat to draw the knees into the chest for a tight hug. Maybe rocking side to side, finding that little spinal massage. Releasing those feet to the mat, knees still bent, arms by the side. Let's do reclined banana. So pressing into the feet, lifting the hips and the bum, and adjusting them slightly towards the left before angling those legs to the right, crossing that left ankle over top of the right. On an inhale, extending the arms long overhead and angling those long extended arms towards the right as well. So if looking from above, we've made that large curved letter C, like that banana shape with the body. Big stretch moving through the left hip, the left torso area as you relax into the breath. Bringing the arms back to center and stepping the feet in as well. Pressing into the feet to lift the bum and hips slightly so we can adjust those hips towards the right, angling the legs long to the left with that right ankle crossing over top. The arms are still long above the head, extending them long and angling towards the left now. Letting the hips sink back, feeling that big stretch now move into the right hip and torso. Our rain has stopped and clouds are now moving across the sky very quickly. We have our little skylight. Extending those arms long above the head, straightening the torso, and stepping those feet in. Adjusting the back, the hips, and the bum before hugging those knees into the chest. Finding that little rocking massage. And reaching for the block. Let's do bridge. Setting those feet down on the mat, knees bent, facing up towards the ceiling. Let's tuck that prop, that block in just between the knees. Arms by the sides. On an inhale, pressing into the heels, floating the hips and bum once again. Gently squeezing the knees, the inner thighs against the block. And finding that straight line from shoulder blades out through the front of the body, extending out through the knees. Relaxing here, but bumping those hips up if they feel like they're starting to drop. And if it feels good, extending those arms long above the head once again, just changing the stretch up slightly. Or not. All up to you. On an exhale, one vertebra at a time, releasing that back to the mat. And as the tailbone touches down, pressing into the heels to float once again. Still gently squeezing the block. Exhaling one vertebra down to the mat once again. Settling in and tucking that prop off to the side before hugging those knees into the chest, giving that little massage. Releasing those feet to the mat, knees still bent, but walking those feet to the outer edges of the mat, letting the knees drop into center. And starting that little side-to-side motion and flow with the knees like a windshield wiper. A little hip rotation as you move and flow. As the knees dip left, letting them hang heavy. Resting here, or maybe stacking that left ankle on top of the right knee, intensifying the stretch. Or not. Starting to windshield wiper those knees side to side again. Letting them fall and hang heavy to the right this time. Relaxing here, or bringing that right heel on top of the left knee, or not. Windshield wipering side to side, one more each side, before bringing the legs back center and hugging those knees into the chest. Let's float the nose up to the knees, really finding a nice full hug, massaging that spine. And reaching for our strap. I have mine folded in half, but I have short legs, so you might need the full length of the strap. But taking one end in each hand and placing that strap around the ball of both feet, extending those legs long to ceiling. Gently pressing the hips towards the ceiling as the strap draws those toes down towards your face and head. Big stretch moving through the back of the legs, the calves. Exhaling, starting to point those toes up towards the ceiling, using the strap for a little bit of resistance. Coming back level, and letting that left foot escape, just releasing long to the mat. Both ends of the strap in the right hand as that knee drops into the armpit by the ribs for half happy baby. Pressing through the heel, extending long, and Releasing that hip open out to the side, that strap helping support the leg, keeping that little flex through the heel. Staying here, drawing the toes a little closer to the head if you wish to reignite the stretch. Drawing that leg back long to ceiling, taking a strap in each hand, and floating the left foot back up, switching places with the right. That left leg floating long, settling into the mat. Both ends of the strap in the left hand now as that left knee drops into the armpit by the ribs for half happy baby. Pressing through the heel, extending long in that left leg, and slowly releasing the hip open out to the side, that strap supporting. Gently pressing through the flexed heel. Intensifying the stretch if you wish by drawing those toes closer to the head or not. Coming back long in that leg, removing the strap and hugging the knee into the chest, just tossing the strap off to the side. Finding that nice tight hug. For drawing that right knee in to hug as well. One more little massage to the spine. And floating the nose up to the knees, making that tight ball with the body. Finding your full breath and exhaling, extending long through arms and legs, reaching towards opposite walls. Letting the belly button draw towards the spine towards the mat. As you reach long towards those opposite walls, stretching. Letting go. Resting back, connecting into the mat. Those toes dropping open to the outer corners. And sliding those arms down by the side, adjusting the shoulder blades underneath. Letting those palms face up. Finding your Shavasana. Looking for any tension still being held to let go. Tension in the jaw, tightness in the cheeks. That tongue falling away from the roof of the mouth. Collarbones falling open, ribs resting. And the belly softening. Sinking back, finding the rhythm and flow of your smooth, relaxed breath. Hearing that water flow along. pads of the fingers together and wiggle the toes. Start little circles with the wrists and the ankles. On an inhale, sliding one knee into the chest for that nice big hug. Letting those shoulders fall away from the ears, resting back. Inhaling to slide that other knee in as well, finding that full hug. Maybe one more rocking massage as well. Rolling onto your side and gently pressing to seated, or tucking those fingers behind the knees and rocking. Coming on up to seated, similar to how we began, just settling in comfortably. Those arms in the lap or over the knees, letting the body get vertical. Before we do close our practice, let's share a few breaths together. Settling those arms down by the sides. On an inhale, extending long, connecting the fingers at the top. Exhaling, letting the fingers release down to the mat, and repeating. Inhaling, extending long, connecting at the top. Exhaling out, fingers floating down. Last breath. Inhaling long, palms together. Exhaling, hands heart center. And tucking in, pausing. Enjoying the peace, the quiet in the moment. Or repeating a word or mantra that has meaning to you. Our card today said, I am the final say. Or patting yourself on the back, maybe literally for getting on the mat today. You did this just for you. Thank you, each of you, for coming in and flowing with us, even with the time change. You're all truly appreciated. The light in me acknowledges the light in you. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.